So you all know today we made the announcement that Coach Dave Rice and I mutually agreed for him to step away. It's a very tough day for those of us at UNLV. Nobody has worked harder and loved UNLV more than Coach Rice. He's been a friend, his family for years, and I want to thank him for everything that he's done for this great university. He's worked hard, and today, after a long discussion, the decision was made. And I want to thank him for everything that he's done and all the sacrifices. When you're a head basketball coach at UNLV, you understand the tremendous pressure, the tremendous responsibility you have, that you bring in young men and ensure that they graduate, ensure that they do the right things, and David Rice did that, and we'll be forever grateful to one of our favorite all-time Runnin Rebels. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Take us through the timeline as to when you first started thinking about making a change, and what was the tipping point?
Well, I think as we've watched our team these last few weeks, I thought we started out strong, and unfortunately the last few weeks we haven't been able to connect. And I don't know if there's ever a right time to do this type of thing, but there's so much basketball left, and we have such great players and such great talent. We have 4 great coaches on our staff, and I think after the Wyoming game, I was in Phoenix and the president was in Colorado, and we'd talked the last few days, so I called him and we talked about the time to sit down with David and talk about this. So I called Coach this morning and asked him. I flew back in, asked him to meet me today. So that's pretty much the timeline.
How did he take it?
How did he take it? He loves what he does. David Rice is committed to his players. It's been a tough day. We actually went down and talked to the team. They were gathering today for practice. And, it's a tough day. Coach is here, and he's, as David always is, he's so wonderful, and to be able to address the media on a very difficult day.
What was the decision to go with Todd, I guess, as the interim through the remainder of the year?
We have 4 great coaches. I talked to Stacy, talked to Ryan, talked a little bit to Max and Todd. I think right now, I needed a couple things, and one is kind of a calming effect. Anytime, obviously in basketball, this doesn't happen often, to make a change in the middle of the season, and I think Todd has some attributes that'll help us get through this rocky time. It was really important somebody could connect with our players, make sure the staff, obviously Stacy and Ryan will have a bigger role in this, and all 3 of them were associate head coach, but just felt that at this time Todd had some things that could help us get through this.
Can you elaborate on some of those things?
Well, Todd's very organized. He's done some of the media things over the past. He's other than Max, he has been a head coach at Finley Prep, but he's him and Ryan and Stacy really are great recruiters, but we just felt that Todd would be able to do some of those things that we needed right now. And a lot of it is dealing with our players and managing a coaching staff through a difficult time. Whatever we say about it, it's tough. It's been a tough day for everyone.
When you spoke with the players, did you get a sense that any of them felt responsibility for this?
I do. I mean, our leaders on the team, Ben Carter and Jerome, they've all talked about it's the players needing to do the things that they need to do. But, unfortunately, when you're the head coach, it's your responsibility to make sure those things happen. But I think our players get it. I think our players, I hope they don't feel the pressure, because we want them to go out and we want them to win. And, they play hard. They've been at practices. They practice hard. We just need them to kind of turn that around. Accept responsibility. I hope they're worrying about, New Mexico and not worrying about whose fault this is. And I think with David's talk to him, they know that they're in good hands, and they know they truly have been loved by, David Rice.
Tina, if there was no, outcry out there in the community, that would be a bigger problem. I think Dave understands that. this program is a proud program. So, I mean, what's kind of the next step after? What do you have to do now
Well,
after this season? I mean, you got Todd, and you just kind of ride it out and then go from there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think we wanted to turn these into some wins. We want to get some wins. We don't want to throw away the season at all. And, Todd's job is to run the program. And again, I keep bringing them up, but Stacy and Ryan are such a big part of this, and Max, and we need to make sure that they get our players and connect with them, and we'll see how it goes at the end of the year.
Is there a lot of outside booster pressure to say, hey, something's got to be done? I mean, that's the obvious question.
I like to say that I like to take their millions, but I don't like their 2 cents. That's really bad to say, but we've got some really great donors that passionate. We have a lot of people that care about UNLV basketball, and people have been frustrating at the games, and I can tell you this as adults, boo us, boo the coaches, boo me, but don't boo the kids. Anytime we do that, and our fans are so great, and they love Runnin Rebel basketball, and I hope they come back. I hope they come back and continue to support our team. We can do well. We've got all the talent in the world to do it. So those folks that said they may not come back or they may drop their tickets, it's kind of a plea to stay with us. But we've said that all along. You go through highs and lows in intercollegiate athletics, and that's the great news. The great news is when you win, and the South Dakota win, everybody went home at Christmas and we were all really happy, and gosh, Merry Christmas, it was great. And then you had a couple of losses, but that's what athletics is about. But we have so much passion for Runnin Rebel basketball, and we need to get it back on track.
It's crazy that if the weekend hadn't happened, those last 2 games, we wouldn't be standing here right now, would we?
Yeah, that weekend was a tough weekend, going up to Colorado, and those are 2 tough places to play. But, again, I think, is there any right time to make it, to have this happen, to make a change, for David to go, I'm going to step aside? I don't know, but, those were 2 tough games for our program, and we need to get back on track. New Mexico's very good. They're playing very well. And they come in Tuesday night, and we need to fill the Thomas and Mack and support our program, support our guys, and support our coaches.
Why don't you think it worked under Coach Rice? What was it about him that didn't allow it to work?
Amber, I don't know. I mean, I would go to practice, and they'd practice hard. I mean, those kids worked their tails off. And our coaches coached really, really hard. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hope that our coaches, if there was one thing, maybe be prepared better in situations to deal with, late in the game situations, circumstances that come up to the game. I would say I just hope that, we work a little bit more on those kind of things. That doesn't have anything to do with Dave. I think moving forward, I would say to you that, let's do a better job in some of the circumstances that come up during our games, especially at the end of the game.